So for this video, we're going to talk about 2024 buddy reads that are going to be taking place on the Bookish Drummer Discord. And the first part of this video is going to be mainly about the Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club, which Stacy and I ran in 2023, which was a big success. We had a lot of fun with that. So we're going to do 12 more thriller/horror books for 2024.
Yep.
And then after that, we're going to talk about 2 fantasy series that we're also going to be buddy reading on the Bookish Drummer Discord. We're going to do them once a month. In January, we're going to start with Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. And there's 5 of those books plus like a short story novella. So that'll take place for the first 5 months.
Yep.
And then we're going to do Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan, which will be a reread for me and then first time for you.
Yep.
And we're going to start that in June. And before we get talking about that, though, we're going to talk about what we're going to do for Thrill, Chill, or Kill. We're going to do like 1 thriller/horror book a month for the whole 2024.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that. So for our first pick for Thrill, Chill, or Kill for January, we're going to read Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. And this has been on our radars as well as a lot of our friends' radars. So we're very keen to read this. Now, for those who don't know what it's about, we're not quite sure like what it's about, but what we do know is that it's a ghost ship situation.
Yeah, and it's a sci-fi horror blend.
Yes, which sounds like a lot of fun. So that's going to be the first pick for January.
Yeah. We figured it was time for a horror. We've been doing some thriller mysteries lately.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some good old-fashioned horror.
Yeah. And for February, we're going to read Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. And this is a new release. It comes out at the end of January or mid-January, I think. And the reason we picked this is because you have read a couple of her other books and enjoyed them both.
I really liked Flicker in the Dark, and then All the Dangerous Things was pretty good.
Yes.
But I know your sister really liked that one.
Yeah, so I think she'll probably be excited that this is a pick for next year because she'll want to read it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for March, this next book is going to be a book by an author that neither one of us have read, but we've heard good things about, and that'll be All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. And I know on our Discord, Penny has read a bunch of her books, and that's one of her favorite thriller writers.
Yes.
And this one's also interesting because it's told in a very peculiar way. It's told in backwards order. So you start in the present and then you work your way back, and somehow that's going to make sense of solving the mystery. I don't know, but it sounds pretty intriguing to me.
Okay. I am definitely interested in trying out her as an author, and I think we settled on this one just because it was one that you owned physically.
And it's one of her more popular ones.
Okay. It might be the one with the better average rating on Goodreads too. I think that was a consideration.
Either way, I'm definitely excited.
Yeah. And in April, we're going to do Dark Ride by Ian Rob Wright. And I think this is a horror set in an amusement park, if I'm not mistaken. But the main reason we chose this is because we have both really enjoyed one of his other horrors, Escape. And we're really looking forward to this one. We also wanted to pick something shorter for April. I think this is like a 5-hour audio because we will probably be bringing back a readathon. Another round of Battle of the Bands. We're thinking.
Yeah, so we're hoping that, for people doing Thrill, Chill, or Kill and the readathon, this will definitely be an easy book to read because I think the audio is less than 6 hours probably.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 hours and something.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this one.
Me too.
And for May, fittingly, we have the book Mother May I by Jocelyn Jackson. And obviously May, well known for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And but I've found that for thriller and horror books, I like where there's like a weird like mother relationship. Like Mothered by Zoe Stage was one of my favorite books this year.
Baby Teeth.
So
The Push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about that just does it for me. So
I don't think this will be quite in the same vein as this. Like I think it's more of a thriller and not a horror, but it will be interesting to see.
And we had to put it in May because literally it says Mother's Day. We had to do it.
Yeah, we had to. And then our book for June is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. And I think the main reason we chose this is we were both looking at our thriller shelves and we're like, okay, what have neither of us read that we want to read? Because both of us have the reading goal of reading our physical TBR next year. And this one also sounded intriguing to both of us based on the synopsis.
So the synopsis for this book is definitely very intriguing. And I also think it'll probably be told in multiple timelines. Like you'll probably get something from the past and the present. Because something happened to these girls like 17 years ago involving a serial killer, and now it's like 20 years later and something else is happening. So I typically like those kind of stories, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
And now I'll let Stacy do the pick for July, because you'll see.
It might be one of my most anticipated releases, guys. We're going to do Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and I think this comes out at the end of June. So, yeah. How could I resist? My favorite thriller author, for sure.
And probably like one of your all-time favorite authors at this point.
Maybe. I mean, I've read all of his books. I've given them all, I think, at least a 3.75. So, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and I did, you didn't love his newest book.
Yeah.
The only one left. I gave it 4 stars. It's like one of my favorite Riley Sagers, but you were like kind of...
It is my least favorite Riley Sager.
Yeah. So it'll be and then his previous book we both think is his best, which is a hot take, The House Across the Lake.
I love that one.
So it'll be interesting to see where we lie on the Riley Sager scale.
Yeah.
That sounds like a scientific term. The Riley Sager scale.
Oh boy.
The book that we picked for August is by an author that we've both read and enjoyed in the past, and that would be What Have You Done by Sherry Lapina, which will be her new book coming out probably around the same time as Riley Sager.
I think it's a month later. I think it comes out at the end of July.
Okay.
Or the middle of July.
Thriller authors typically release in the summer, I guess, just because that's a popular time for people to read thrillers.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot that come out in the fall, too, I would say.
Yeah. But Sherry Lapina, I think I've read all her books at this point, and my favorite is still...
Couple Next Door?
Yeah, Couple Next Door.
Yeah.
And then her newest book last year, which I'm...
Everyone Here Is Lying, I think.
Yeah, that's my second favorite. I really enjoyed that one. I gave it 4.5 stars.
I really liked those both. And I'm really excited. I think my next one that I'm going to read before this is Not a Happy Family.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Most of her books are like pretty good, but the one last year was really good. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Unless
you ask Sharon. She did not love it.
Yeah, Sharon sometimes has peculiar taste, but she would say the same thing about me, so.
Yeah. And then in September, we're going to be doing The September House, fittingly, by Carissa Orlando. And this one I don't know a ton about, but I had heard people talk about it as part of like their 2023 anticipated releases, because I think it just came out like this fall, and it has me intrigued, and I figured why not slot a September book into September?
Exactly. I thought this book was going to be by Earth, Wind, and Fire, but oh well. So this next book that we're going to read in October is definitely fitting for spooky season, by one of my all-time favorite authors. This will be a reread for me and a first-time read for Stacy.
Yes.
And that'll be Extreme Makeover by Dan Wells, which is a vastly underrated book. Not a lot of people have read it or have even heard of it. But basically my pitch for it is basically it's the apocalypse that's caused by cosmetic products.
Oh boy.
And it's pretty dark at times, but also pretty satirical. So if you don't love like really dark horror books that are super scary, this one's not super scary. It's got a lot of funny stuff, and yeah, it's a really fun read, and I'm definitely excited to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, this could really go either way for me, because I don't tend to like post-apocalyptic stories or stories that include an apocalypse, but then on the other hand, I really enjoyed John Cleaver, which is also by Dan Wells, so who knows?
And you're also... one of the reasons you're not a fan of it is because a lot of it has very typical stuff repeating. But
yeah,
this one,
like a lot of, you can basically predict all the plot points in a post-apocalyptic story. Like, you know they're going to have to look for resources. You know that there's going to be a run-in with somebody, you know?
So it's not, this book is not post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
It starts out normal, and then a cosmetic product is introduced, which leads to the downfall.
Oh boy.
So it's very funny and very creepy, and I really like it. And I love Dan Wells, so.
Okay. Our November pick is Good Girls Don't Die by Christina Henry. And I think the reason we chose this one is just because it sounded like something that neither of us had ever read before. And it's supposed to have multiple twists, which I always like. So.
Yes, so we're definitely hoping for some fun twist in this book and some interesting reveals.
Yeah, definitely.
And then our last book for Thrill, Chill, or Kill for December 2024 is going to be The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And this one has a lot of mixed reviews. It's got a very low rating on Goodreads, 3.4, which I'm fine with because a lot of my favorite thriller horror books tend to have lower ratings anyway. So, and I think it's supposed to be kind of like a locked-in situation, right?
Yeah, I think like all these writers are on this retreat and then they find out they're like forced to write an entire novel at the retreat. So that kind of rings bell to some of your favorites.
Yeah.
And I think both of us are just intrigued by the story. So
yeah, I think it'll be, and it makes sense because I think it's supposed to be like winter, right?
Yeah,
I
think so. Yeah.
Makes sense for December. It'll be a good book to close out another year of Thrill, Chill, or Kill.
With hopefully more thrills than chills and kills.
Yeah, we had a few chills this year.
Yeah.
But not a lot of kills.
No, I think there was really only like one kill.
What was the one kill?
My lovely wife, maybe?
No.
Oh, no, that was a chill?
That was a chill.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot. I think it was like a mixed bag for us this year.
Yeah, we definitely had some thrills, a lot of chills.
And definitely differing opinions because some books that you thought were thrills, I thought were chills, and then some books
vice
that,
versa.
yeah, like the very first book was The Plot, right?
Yeah.
I loved it, and everyone was like, meh.
Yeah.
And then everybody loved or thought His and Hers was really good, and I was kind of
I loved it.
I was kind of like, meh.
No. I think that was because you read it while you had COVID.
I had COVID and listened to it, so that might have factored in.
Yeah, I think you were just a little like out of it when you were reading it, and so I think that played a role.
Well, hopefully for 2024, we're going to have nothing but bangers.
Hopefully.
AKA thrills.
Yeah. So also in 2024, Jake and I thought it would be fun to each pick a fantasy series that we all work on together on the Discord, one a month. So the series I picked for us to work on, and it's my turn since you did Shattered Sands, is Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. And this is one that I'm excited to get back to, but I also did the first two so long ago as part of a buddy read with someone who ended up having to like move overseas. And then we just stopped reading and they fell out of reading completely. So, or at least out of fantasy completely. So yeah, I needed to reread anyways to continue. And I always said like, oh, I'll just wait for you to read and then we'll buddy read it together. But now we'll make it a Discord wide one. So in January, we'll go ahead and do The Black Prism. And then in February, we can do The Blinding Knife. And then for anyone who wants to, we'll also slot in the short story Gunner's Apprentice here because it goes after book 2. And then March will be The Broken Eye. April will be The Blood Mirror. And May will be The Burning White.
And it's definitely good that that's in May because April is going to be a potential readathon. And the 5th book is like...
Or 4th book, the shortest.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. The 5th book is super chunky, so we don't need to read that in April.
Yeah.
So it works out.
And the shortest book in the series is book 4.
Yeah.
So.
Works out.
Yeah. We'll just have to make sure we have a prompt that fits it.
Yeah, and I've never read this series. I did read The Way of Shadows.
Night Angel?
Yeah, I read the first book, and then I DNF'd the second book, so that's my experience with Brent. Whatever. That's my experience with Brent Weeks. This one is definitely more popular, I would say.
Yeah.
So
it has a cooler magic system for sure.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yes, I am excited to get back to it and find out what happens in the series. I also figured this would... Sorry.
I think you were going to mention it just now.
Okay. I also figured this would be a really fun buddy read experience because from what I remember reading the first 2 books, I had like a million theories of what could happen or like where little lines kind of alluded to things or, you know, so I just figured it would be a really fun discussion to have as a group.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
And then after we read Lightbringer by Brent Weeks, we're going to be starting with Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan, which of course is a reread for me, one of my all-time favorite fantasy series, and this will be new to you, but you have read his other series.
Yeah, I've read all of the Rhaenyra Revelations.
I always forget.
Yeah, Chronicles is the newer one,
yeah.
and then Revelations is their OG. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I've read that one too, but this might be because I read this one first, but I do prefer this, which is actually a prequel series to Revelations.
Yeah, but it was published after.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird, but I read this one first, and I much preferred this one. And so the schedule for this is going to be June. We're reading Age of Myth, and if you want to, there's also a short story called Pile of Bones.
I think it's available on Audible, like as a freebie, like Audible Plus or whatever.
I think it might be like $1.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
But either way, it's pretty cheap. And then the cool thing about this is literally all of the books are like Age of Blank, Age of Blank. So the first one that we'll read in June is Age of Myth. And then the second one is Age of Swords that we'll read in July. And then in August, Age of War. And September, Age of Legend. October, Age of Death. And then closing out the series, 6-book series, November, Age of Empire.
Yeah.
So that's the schedule.
And I am excited because Tim Gerard Reynolds narrates all of them.
And that's your favorite audio narrator.
Yeah, definitely. One of the favorites.
I'd say your favorite. Anytime you're like, oh, Tim Gerard Reynolds. Oh, I gotta read this. I gotta listen to it. He does the narration of one of your other favorite series, Red Rising.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, he does a very good job with characters in this one. So I will definitely be listening to that. You're going to be listening to it too.
Oh, heck yeah, I am.
And yeah, this is just a really fun series. It starts out kind of like, it's like I said, it's a prequel. So it takes place like 3,000 years or something like that before the Royce and Hadrian books. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but like it kind of starts out more with like classic fantasy tropes. You've got like elves and dwarves, and then you got the humans.
There's a wizard too, I think.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Pretty cool animal companion in here.
Yes.
Some weird magic going on. And as you progress through the series, it does get a little bit darker, but kind of has the same tone. And basically why it's one of my favorites is because of the characters. Characters are spectacular in this series. And what's interesting is when you first start out, you kind of have some characters in the first book that get perspectives. And then as you go through the series, you start to get more and more, and then some additional ones. And he does a very good job with them.
Nice. I am curious to see what his sort of like darker tone looks like. And I kind of wondered if that might be the case with the title Age of Death in book 5. It's like,
And this is not a spoiler because it's, but there are some pretty, I won't say heart-wrenching because I'm not really like a heart-wrenching reader, but like there are some pretty brutal deaths in this series.
Okay.
So I won't tell you what books are coming in, but
Age of Death.
maybe not.
I mean, it would be logical.
We'll see. But yeah, it's fantastic and I love it. And hopefully you guys will join us for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, for those of us who have read his other series, if we can pick up on any, like, Easter eggs or connections. I think when you read Rhaenyra, you were picking up on things, but because it's been so long since I read the Rhaenyra Revelations, I'm not sure how much I'll remember.
Well, there's going to be a clear connection in the first book. You're going to be like, oh, okay.
I have a suspicion of what that might be, but I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, but yeah, there's some fun Easter eggs, and it'll also be interesting for me to reread it because when I started, I didn't really know what it was, and then I read Revelations, bunch of Easter eggs, and then maybe there'll be more Easter eggs that I can pick up on.
Yeah, we'll have to be very careful not to spoil anything like that in the chats for those of us who have read more than one series, but it'll be fun. Or we'll just have to be very clear, like marking our spoiler tags, like this also has implications for Revelations or Chronicles or whatever, right?
And like I said, the last book for Legends of the First Empire, Age of Empire, is going to be in November. And we don't have anything slotted for December because for Brando Sando fans, the 5th Stormlight book, Knights of Wind and Truth, will hopefully be out in probably late November. And you know he writes some chunky ass books. So probably for a lot of people, including myself, it'll probably bleed over into December. And I definitely plan on getting to it. So
yeah, we'll have a buddy read chat for it in the Discord for sure.
Yeah,
for those of us who are reading it.
Yeah, and we're both. I'm planning on rereading Stormlight next year, and you're planning on
reading it for the first time.
But you didn't want to do like a buddy read for it because you don't want to spoil yourself.
Well, there were a couple reasons or a couple considerations. I didn't want to be narrowed down to a certain committed timeline because I knew I already had a lot of committed reads or like a lot of plans that I had on a certain timeline. So that was one thing. The second thing was I didn't want to completely go in publication order because I'm also fitting it around Mistborn Era 2 and I didn't want to like alternate. I mostly wanted to alternate, and there's like one where it would be 2 Stormlights in a row and 2 Mistborn Era 2s in a row, and it would fall in a month that we had like a readathon for. So I was like, well, I don't want to completely go in pub order, so that might throw people off if they wanted to join me, or if they only wanted to like one of the series, it would be a little wonky. Yeah. So, yeah. And the other major thing is because I'm a first time reader of such a popular series that like I feel like almost everyone has read at this point, I didn't want there to be any like hesitation for the rereaders about being able to post whatever they want in a chat. Like if they notice foreshadowing and things like for things in later books when we're still in book 1, I wanted like, I mean, we can still do channels for them or whatever, but I probably wouldn't be as active in those channels until I like finished the series and then I would go back.
Definitely interested to get your take on Stormlight because you are currently reading Mistborn. You're on Hero of Ages.
Yes, I'm on Hero of Ages. And I've already read Elantris and Warbreaker. So I should be set for Stormlight.
Which is my second favorite series other than A Song of Ice and Fire.
Okay.
So I'm definitely... And the other thing is the 5th book is supposed to be like completing like the first arc of Stormlight. It's going to be a 10-book series, but this 5th book is going to basically complete the first arc. So I want that book. I want it right now. And I want to read it.
Oh boy.
And we also have
a cat.
A cat.
Tinky. Hello. She's a little annoyed. She got her flea treatment today.
Oh yeah, I can't pet her. Crap. Can't pet her neck. All right, so those are our 2024 buddy reads for the Bookish Drummer Discord, if I can speak. The Thrill Chiller Kill or Book Club are 12 picks for that, one every month. And then starting in January, we're going to do Lightbringer by Brent Weeks for 5 months. And then Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan from June until November. And yeah, those are our planned buddy reads for the Bookish Drummer Discord.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys are excited about what we chose and you'll want to join us.
Mm-hmm. And let us know what you're the most excited for. If you're going to do Thrill Chiller Kill, which one of those books are you the most excited for? And then are you going to join us for Lightbringer or Legends of the First Empire or both? Leave a comment down below and let us know.
Yeah, and you don't have to commit to doing every Thrill Chiller Kill book. Like maybe you've already read one or maybe you're just not interested in one of them. But like let us know which ones you're excited for sure.
Yes, and then if you have any other suggestions for potential buddy reads in the future or
like you want to do in 2024?
Yeah, or 2025 if we don't have time, let us know down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Bookish Drummer. And then also, if you're interested in any of these buddy reads, go join the Bookish Drummer Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic day.
Bye.